Schönen guten Morgen nach Österreich. Herzlich willkommen zum Webinar The Future of Gaming in India. Mein Name ist Hans-Jörg Hörtnagel. Ich bin der österreichische Wirtschaftsdelegierte seit 4 Jahren in New Delhi. Zur Erklärung und zur Einleitung. Die Außenwirtschaft Austria verfügt weltweit über 11 sogenannte Innovationsexperten und Expertinnen. Die Aufgabe ist, Sie, die österreichischen Unternehmen, über globale Trends und Innovationen zu informieren. Einer dieser Technologieexperten sitzt hier in New Delhi, Herr Ajay Singh. Und wie gesagt, die Aufgabe ist, Sie über globale Trends in Ihnen zu informieren. Die Formate, die wir benutzen, einerseits über Webinare, aber auch mit Veranstaltungen. Das nächste Webinar findet am 8.9. statt mit dem Titel The Future of Green Tech in India. Wir haben, wie gesagt, eine Webinarserie mit dem Übertitel The Future of und veranstalten regelmäßig Webinars zu diversen Future Trends in Indien. Die nächste große Veranstaltung, Wirtschaftsmission, wir nennen das Zukunftsreise, wird vom 17. bis 22. November stattfinden. Wir werden da an der Bangalore Tech Summit teilnehmen, aber auch die IT-Hotspots New Delhi und Chennai besuchen und laden Sie dazu ein, sich daran zu beteiligen. Zurück zu unserem heutigen Thema, The Gaming of India. Gaming, da gibt es gerade eine neue Regulierung in Indien. Online-Spiele, also Glücksspiele, wo es um Geld geht, sind in Indien strengstens verboten. Worum es heute geht, Gaming, es geht um Online-Spiele. Es wurde neu geregelt und es soll speziell gefördert werden. Es geht um Gesellschaftsspiele, es geht um Spiele zur Weiterbildung, auch sogenannte E-Sports. Und Indien ist der größte Online-Markt gemessen an downgeladenen Apps. Das ist der weltweit größte Markt. Das Marktvolumen wird auf über 4 Milliarden Dollar geschätzt, mit einer sehr stark steigenden Tendenz nach oben. Ziel dieses Webinars ist, Sie, wie gesagt, über diese Trends zu informieren, über diese Future Trends zu informieren, Geschäftsmöglichkeiten aufzuzeigen. Und wenn Sie glauben, Indien ist der richtige Markt für Sie, bitte kontaktieren Sie uns. Wir geben Ihnen gerne weitere Informationen und sind auch dazu da, Sie mit potenziellen Geschäftspartnern zu verknüpfen. Ich wünsche Ihnen ein angenehmes, interessantes Webinar. And now switch to English. It's a great pleasure that we can organize today this webinar, The Future of Gaming. I would welcome our experts in that and at the same time thanking them for sharing their deep knowledge in this sector. And I hope you a very interesting webinar to everybody. And now I switch over to my colleague, to our innovation tech expert, Ajay Singh.
Thank you, sir. Good morning to the ones joining from Austria and good afternoon to the ones joining from India. My name is Ajay Singh. I am responsible for the startups, corporate, science, technology, and innovation, also keeping an eye on the latest trends and innovation happening in India. I would like to brief you about the rules of the house. When the speaker is making the presentation, please turn off all your camera and microphone for rest of the people. And we will try to focus on the presentation, and for the Q&A, we will have at the end a separate session. I would also like to inform some rules in the form that you don't have to click a picture, you don't have to record this session. We are recording it and we will present this session to you via our YouTube channels. And today we will discuss this interesting topic, the future of gaming in India. And recently there was a law which is actually going to change or restructure the gaming industry in India. So we are also focusing on how government, industry, and startups are building the future of gaming in India. Today with us, we have our esteemed experts from India, such as Mr. P. Ramakrishna, CEO, India Mobile Congress, which is a pioneer in showcasing gaming industry in the physical space at the largest conference. We will also learn about this in a couple of minutes. I would also say that our another expert, Mr. Bibor Gauba, representing KPMG India, will deep dive into the gaming industry. And of course, later we will have a chance to put a light on the recent gaming laws in India. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. P. Ramakrishna, CEO, India Mobile Congress, to make the presentation.
Welcome you all. Good morning in Austria, and thanks for everyone from India including the Austrian Embassy. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be part of this session, and look forward for making it a unique visit on the Austrian sites to our India Mobile Congress, which is the 9th edition on 8th to 11th October in New Delhi. We have Honorable Prime Minister inaugurating this whole big expo, and we had a honor of him having last 3 years. So is that we are expecting this year too. Next. I think we are the biggest tech platform providing such a huge scale of exposure in the whole Asia. As such, we have beaten certain great numbers from MWC, and so you will see our numbers post the scale and size of this expo. Next. This is the kind of the scale which happened last year. We are pretty much repeating or increasing the audience level this year, 175,000 across various sectors, governments, media, CXOs. There are various profiling of the visitors and delegates out here. 123 countries were part of this. More likely because of WPSA, the ITU standards body, had a good gathering from all across the globe during last year. We expect the similar kind of audience and spread over 40,000 square meter with about 1,200 exhibitors. More inclusive with the startups, which we have about close to 900 startups in this venue. This is the kind of demographic profile, and probably this is very important for you. This is where we key domains of our industry out here. Of course, gaming is also part of it from the 5G, 6G side of the scenario, where all the telco ecosystems, the various other programming community comes and participate, including some of the gaming bodies. We are a big presence of artificial intelligence this year, followed by quantum, SATCOM, cybersecurity, and 6G. They are the big tracks which happen for 2 days continuously, where we are inviting thought leaders from across the globe. These are the kind of profiling deep dive into the kind of stakeholders, participants. We look, you have the whole community, tech community out here within this stakeholders, startups, big drive into startups. I think this makes a comprehensive platform for the tech, not only looking at telecom or tech as a one profile. We have now spread across the various sections of the industry. Next, please. Now, coming back to the gaming and the importance, very important for you to understand one which I missed out earlier is this is co-organized by Department of Telecom and the Cellular Operations Association of India. The big stakeholder here is Department of Telecom and the cellular operators, and the other ministries, about 18 ministries are also involved in form of participation and showcasing. Now, India being one of the huge marketplace with 400 million plus gamers, I think we expect a bigger opportunity for the gaming community from Austria to be part of it. Of course, the new rules have come in place last couple of days. Someone, of course, is taking a deep dive into that rules for you as a policy matter. But I'm pretty sure anything to do with esports and anything to do with gamification of real content is not a big issue with the current rules. Only games which are addictive and are where is a bidding is there or gambling is there, that's what the ban is going to happen. Other leverage is we have a huge talent pool. I think this is where an ecosystem where you should utilize this talent pool for further spread of Austrian companies into other vernaculars, or it can be to the Asian market as a gateway for the Asian market. We have shown what are various things which we can help you out with. the ecosystem, which will be participants in IMC, the AR/VR headset, cloud gaming platforms, esport companies, hardware, chip manufacturers. You can come across that ecosystem where they always try to do partnerships evaluation in IMC. We want you to come here, leverage that opportunity, where have you chipset like MediaTek, Qualcomm, and other gaming platforms are also on the showcasing their particular products for the gaming industry. So I think I would touch upon some important thing. One is, if you want to have presence in India and look at the policy and the industry convergence, this is the best place where you will have the right connect with the policy and the government bodies which lay the laws and the rules and the regulations. This is the place you can meet, share your viewpoints. You can recommend various other suggestions or discussions with the government for other policy changes or any further your viewpoints at least. The second, what we say is whole of industry stakeholders from the India subcontinent and the Asian subcontinent is here. Make yourself partnerships opportunities which are available. Because market access for these operators which are present here is probably half of the global population. And with that kind of a community which is out here, you should be able to, you have an opportunity to get the market access for that kind of a mass adoption of your content. I think it's important for you to leverage that. The third is we look at a lot of vernacular opportunities because India is where you speak so many languages, so many cultures, so many religions out here. Your gamification content probably needs to adapt to this vernacular demographic opportunities. There's a huge opportunities for looking at how the cross-section gamification of two particular content is. I think you will have those opportunities to create out here. This is what we see as a gateway for your for the Asian community. You please have a look at this and participate. And I'm sure you will have the value and ROI for your participation out here in IMC. Startup. Now we have, I think, one good opportunity. Definitely, we are open up also. GSMA, the global mobile body, is conducting an open API hackathon. This is where you can integrate your platforms into the operator communities. This is a very good place where the future telcos are how they're redefining their network opportunities for gamification. I think this is one place, if you have a good startups and you wanted to use the hackathon as the launch pad, please come in and participate in that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ramki, for your comment and also showcasing India Mobile Congress as the largest gaming platform where most of the companies can also deep dive into the gaming in the physical space. I would like to move to our next speaker, Mr. Vibhor Gauba from KPMG, to take us through the deep dive into the gaming industry and the implementation, also the challenge and opportunity in this field. Over to you, Mr. Gauba.
Thank you, Ajay. Apologies, I'm actually dressed differently because there's a major festival in India today. So essentially what we are looking at, and see, the gaming space in India is a very vibrant space. However, there is a massive change that has actually happened in the last week, which effectively has wiped off, right, 70 to 75% revenues of the gaming industry in India. There is both good and bad. Obviously, the bad is that, there is a large regulation that has come in which has banned real money gaming in India. But the good part is that it bodes well for the future in terms of non-real money gaming and monetization opportunities going ahead. So I'll just take maybe 10-12 minutes to take you through the landscape of gaming in India. And gaming in India is actually largely online dominated. India is a mobile first country. Currently, we have about 950 million internet users. As compared to that, if you look at fixed wireline users, we have hardly 40-45 million. We are a mobile first country. And if you look at the overall gaming landscape, today, and by today, I mean calendar year 24 or financial year 25, that is March ending, we would have about 530 to 550 million gamers in India. When we say gamers, this basically includes people who are playing casual games, which do not involve payout of money. And by casual games, these are essentially hyper casual, casual or mid-core games, which are monetized either through advertisements or in-app purchases. And then there is also a significant portion which play real money games, and there is a significant overlap between the both of them. Specifically, something which is very unique to India is the fact that India has actually skipped the console generation, right? If you look at the total installed consoles in India right now, and which is largely dominated by PlayStation. So Sony's PlayStation has a large share. It's a very, very small market. We have only about 0.5 to 0.6 million installed consoles, and in revenue, we'll have roughly 75 million USD as the overall revenue. The majority of the monetization and the consumption happens on online gaming in India and largely mobile. So if we look at the split between online modes, which is mobile as well as gaming PCs, around 94-95% is mobile. Coming to the numbers, right? In FY25, the industry was valued at about $3.5-3.6 billion. And a huge chunk of this was contributed actually by real money gaming. Real money gaming, as the name suggests in India, is something wherein we put in a certain amount of money to participate in a contest, and depending upon the performance, right, of whatever you are putting in it for, let's say, for example, a cricket team, there is a certain amount that you may win or you may lose, and you can actually withdraw that. So both there is a cash in and a cash out. This industry had taken off very well, and was a massive industry. Essentially, this was projected to grow in 2024 at a massive rate to about $6 to $7 billion. There were two pieces of regulation that came in 2023. There was a regulation in October, which came in, which said that the full face value of the deposits that are made by users, there will be a huge 28% goods and services tax that will be imposed. That, of course, what happened was a lot of players absorbed that tax, and they didn't pass it on to the users. So the top line was not impacted, but the bottom line was. However, the consumption remained as is. Last week, the government has passed a blanket bill banning all forms of real money game, whether it be a game of skill or a game of chance. In India, game of skill is defined as something wherein you use analysis to predict an outcome, and game of chance is essentially gambling. Gambling as a segment is completely banned in India. So essentially, this industry is right now wiped out. There are top 4 or 5 players who may survive, and they are looking at pivoting to various models, which are potentially ad supported, looking at content, looking at the influencer and the creator economy around sports, and trying to look at foreign geographies where real money is legal. It's early days because this thing has happened last week, so we don't know how this will pan out. But what it will do is the fact that the non-real money gaming, right, is something that is expected to benefit from this, wherein people may shift their attention there. This market is roughly a 930 million US dollar market. And unlike a lot of global economies, the interesting part about India, which is, a probably a deterrent for a lot of companies which look at India is the fact that the monetization on IAP, which is essentially the players paying for, games, is actually low. So even now in India, 55% of all non-real money gaming revenues are actually ad driven. If you look at global benchmarks, these numbers are less than 5%. So we are still a heavily ad dependent economy. And this is not just across gaming, this is across television and a lot of other mediums as well, wherein our companies rely a lot on ads to monetize it. Having said that, with increasing disposable income, with 5G coming in, game latencies coming down, and there are players who are looking to offer cloud gaming like console-like experiences on mobile. I mean, of course, the mobile has to be good enough as well. This segment is likely to be the fastest growing segment within the overall media industry landscape. I mean, digital advertisement is there are multiple reports out there, but consensus is that between 14 to 17% is the digital ad growth in the next about 4 years. The non-real money gaming is going to grow between 22 to 25% in the next 4 years. And this is an opportunity that is there. It may now even grow faster because when these numbers were put together, right, at that point in time, this particular blanket ban was not something that was envisaged. So this is the the lay of the land right now. If I look at, the overall landscape, and this is something we use to actually determine what kind of segments are working. So just to give you a context, in 2024, there were 2 billion monthly active users across all games in India, which are non-real money. Now, when I say 2 billion, that is not the population, more than the population. That is actually not unique monthly active users. That is one person playing multiple games. So 2 billion MAUs is something that we had in 2024. And a lot of these MAUs are actually coming from casual and hyper casual games, the likes of Candy Crush, or even games Pool, Carom, and Ludo, which is a social board game in India, which is very, very popular. Mid-core games largely dominated by Garena Free Fire and Battleground Mobile India, which is PUBG. Those are the two largest games. They actually have a smaller base, but because they are highly popular and have extreme amounts of engagement, they contribute roughly 1/3 to the overall monetization. Not 1/3 actually. They contribute 2/3 to the overall monetization of the in-app purchases. So if you look at a power ratio, and power ratio is something we define as monetization by consumption, mid-core games are way ahead. Having said that, given that this is a creative industry, mid-core games are much costlier to make, and there is a hit and miss ratio that is likely to be there. Let's move on. When we look at the market, and this is something, as I mentioned, which is very unique to India. Of the overall base today, right, roughly 55 to 65 million users are only the ones who are actually paying for games. This is roughly 15% of our overall base. And this is not something unique to gaming. Today, even if you look at the, OTT, which is online video user paying base in India, that is still around 18%. Beyond a point, given the social construct of India and the demographic classes, it is very difficult to scale to a level wherein you get a 40-50% paying penetration. So that is something which we'll have to live with and look at other innovative monetization models. Having said that, is this likely to grow? Yes, because right now, if you look at our ARPPU, and that is the more logical term to look at for non-casual gamers, we are at about $11 to $12. This is definitely likely to grow by 1.5x over the next few years, and that, coupled with the growth in actual paying gamers, is something that will propel this industry to a 20% plus CAGR. It will still be small in the next. We may still not be able to reach the size that RMG is today, but the potential is there. And, this could even be accelerated by, I would say, a year and a half on account of the ban that is actually there. Let's move ahead. This is just some data. I mean, I think we can share this. I think important thing to note here is the fact that we have highlighted which are the top games in India which people play, and this is monthly active users. If you look at a classic conversion stickiness ratio, the daily to monthly active user base varies across mid-core, casual, and hyper-casual, wherein mid-core is the highest at about 22 to 24%. The important thing here is that there is only one Indian game in this entire list of 30 games across all genres. This is an Indian created game, which is Ludo King. And this game also is 70-75% supported by ad revenues. So essentially, I think what is happening is right now, there are studios which are coming up, and there is, government intervention as far as skilling people is considered, to be available for the gaming industry. But I think what is required right now is support in terms of capital, support in terms of thinking big, in terms of actually creating mid-core and AAA games. I'll give you some examples on how that is being done so that there can be sustainable big IPs that can come out of India. Because right now, most of the IPs that work in India are global IPs, and there are only 1 or 2 games in this one. I mean, it keeps changing from time to time. There are only 1 or 2 games that have worked. I mean, just to give you an example, cricket is by far the largest sport in India. And the overall MAUs for the cricket genre as a whole, right, would be around 25 million. I'm talking about multiple games across the cricket genre. So that is what we are up against in this particular case. Just go ahead, please. Yeah, I mean, this is the revenue, which is the in-app purchases revenue, which I mentioned about, wherein if you see that the mid-core games are the ones which are largely contributing to the overall revenue, Garena, Free Fire, and BGMI, these are the largest games, while casual and hyper-casual games primarily depend upon advertisement revenue to the extent of between 60 to 80% of their overall revenue from a monetization. But then again, the ROI works because you can churn these games faster, and the creation cost of these games is actually also much lower, as well as the DevOps cost. Can you go ahead, please? I think the formatting is a little off here, but what I'd like to mention here specifically is the fact that gaming saw a very big uptick, right, during the COVID period. And that is something that you see there, wherein essentially we were looking at, 50 to 55 minutes of time spent per day. That has actually dropped after COVID. However, the fact of the matter here is, even though this has dropped, the number of paying users have actually increased, which essentially means the fact that there were some users, right, who came in 2020 and 2021, tried, casual and hyper casual games, and then eventually graduated to mid-core. So while you may see the fact that there is consumption which has slightly declined, and this is I would say an outlier as far as the COVID period is considered, we are right now between 35 to 37 minutes on an average. Having said that, this is an average. If you look at some of the mid-core games, per session times range between 60 to 90 minutes. And if you look at OTT consumption in India, OTT consumption per session times are between 30 to 35 minutes. So as a what do I say, segment of media, gaming is actually much more stickier, right, than OTT. And I mean, it shows globally also, wherein the global OTT video revenue and gaming is maybe 5 times or 6 times that. I'll just give one brief, which is what I mentioned. So just go to the previous slide again. There are some of these games, right? We mentioned, right, that there are not a large amount of games which have emerged out of India, but there are some outliers there. You see these 2 groups, which is Gamerberry Labs. These are some of the IPs which have actually emerged out of India. Ludo Star and Pachisi Star specifically. Gamerberry Labs is a studio purely based out of India, bootstrap, and has a run rate of 45 million as far as revenue is considered. 90% of that actually comes globally. And these IPs have done very well. These cases show that, it is possible to create IPs which travel well out of India. And on the right-hand side that you see, right, we say that, GTA will have a cost of $2 billion as far as development is concerned. I mean, we don't have that kind of cost available here. But a lot of studios, Super Gaming, MPL, Encore, and Dream Game, 2 of these, MPL and Dream Game, are actually real money gaming companies which had diversified into casual gaming also. And they will probably double down on these IPs. They are creating large AAA games out of India. Whether they succeed or not is something that we need to see in the long run. But the fact is that capital right now, specifically private capital, is flowing in to create large IPs based out of India, and in some cases localized IPs, because the 4G and the Indus games that you see, they have a lot of Indian elements which are relevant to the Indian culture, which are being thought of. Just move on, please. I'll not spend much time here, right? Growth drivers. A lot of us know about what this is. The fact that India is one of the youngest countries in the world. Our digital demographic or other dividend is for all to see. Digital infrastructure, 950 million internet users consuming roughly 20 GB of data per month. The largest micropayments digital system in the world by far. Wherein about, it's mind-boggling. Some 7 trillion of rupees of transactions happen every, month on UPI. I think these are large growth drivers that actually exist. And with government support, see what happens is government support has always been there. There are, a lot of AVGC policies that have actually come in, and government is also through startup ecosystem as well as through specific support to gaming companies is looking at promoting this. And the recent gaming regulation that you saw, the government has clearly laid out that esports and casual gaming is something that they are willing to promote. So I think that's a step in the right direction and a very, very positive sign for the overall community. Just go ahead to the next slide, please. I did mention these challenges, right, which are actually there. And why is India right now at $10 or $11 as far as ARPPU is considered as compared to a Korea or a US where ARPPUs are roughly 30 times higher? I think there are a few things here which we need to consider which are structural. One is the fact that, we skipped the console generation and the adoption as such was late. Second is the fact that beyond a certain point, right, beyond those 400 or 500 million users, the paying power capacity is something that is a bit of a problem. And, we will need to think through innovative methods, including, rewarded ads and, innovative methods around in-app purchases to make sure that there is monetization. And I think this one particular point, right, that you see gaming, this is changing now very rapidly. Gaming for a period of time was actually considered, I'm not even talking about real money, but an overall gaming was considered as a vice in India. It was considered as a waste of time. Now, what is happening is this is rapidly changing. Gaming is being seen as a viable career. Esports having been recognized in the Asian Games, there are medals up for grabs, there are athletes, there is pathways, which are cleared by the government for gaming to be a viable career. I think these aspects are something that will propel the growth of non-real money gaming forward. And once that happens, once a community builds in, eventually monetization will start flowing in significantly. Not to say that we will reach monetization or penetration levels of either a Korea or a Japan or a US, but it will be enough for us to sustain a very, very dynamic industry and an industry which, as with a lot of cases in India, which believes in frugality but puts out world-class content out there. So that is the broad overview that I wanted to give you of the gaming landscape in India. There are some other slides there which are in the presentation, which is around data. If the presentation is then shared, you can have a look at it and feel free to reach out to me. That is essentially what I wanted to speak about. Over to you, Ajay.
Thank you, Vibhor, for the wonderful presentation and also, diving into the whole gaming industry and the implementation. And I would ask Ramki also to join us for the Q&A session. And it is my honor to invite the audience. If you have any questions, you can ask in the chat function, or also you can just raise your hand and we will unmute you. In the meantime, I will ask the questions what we already received from both of you. So of course, gaming is a big industry and we see a lot of gaming implementation in the from the simulation to gaming to skilling from classroom. It's very diverse. It's not just something for fun, but it's for learning, it's for everything. But with the recent laws in India, what is the what is your thought on it, how it's going to reshape, and what is the opportunity for the international companies, especially Austrian? I think I would ask Ramki first, since you are going for the physical representation of gaming industry at the India Mobile Congress. What do you think, how it's going to affect, or it's a challenge or opportunity? Over to you.
It's been very recent, and I know there were deliberations for quite some time, but the decision which was taken is very recent. Not much time is spent by the industry yet to reconcile itself and discuss and come out of this status. So for us, I think dialogue needs to be on with the government. Opportunities will shift in the sense of there is gaming examples like Jupi and all probably will gain because they do a lot of content around gamification of content. It can be, I think that's the unicorn status they achieved by that. I think with that kind of companies, it's a good go to go. But of course, Dream 11 and all those kind of companies have a severe impact. So opportunities around suitable content, appropriate content on education or esports to the extent, yes, it is a good go. But rest all probably we have to see and wait and watch till the industry comes up with some other roadmaps.
Yeah. And may I know, like, how many gaming companies were there at the India Mobile Congress last year, and was it risen in the recent year, or because you have a special focus on gaming in the physical world, though it's virtual? Yeah.
Yeah, there were two actually instant where I will recollect in the expo industry. One was in India Mobile Congress, the operators themselves put up a big showcase of gaming. Because a lot on the 5G. They wanted to show 5G use cases, and gaming was one of the industry. They want to show the low latency gaming. And with that as a picture, I think there were a lot many companies and operators did a great exercise on that. We also were part of Startup Mahakumbh, and in that there was one whole hall, about 11,000 square meter hall filled up with gaming companies. That was also an exclusive show. So the whole vibe and economy is there. It's just few leapfrogs. I've been whatever we have recent. I think we have to wait and watch. I'm pretty sure this will be an very kind of a troublesome for someone, some exciting opportunity for the new thinking and so.
Thank you, Ramki. And I would like to now go to Vibhor and your take on this whole situation, and where you see it's more on the opportunity side, more on the challenge side, and what is the opportunity and challenge we are looking here?
Definitely opportunity. I'll like to start by saying that. See, if you look at the history, and Ramki sir would agree, the government has been looking at this sector for a long time, and everybody who was in this sector on the real money side was aware of the risks, right? Even when this blanket ban was not there, there were 6 states who had actually banned real money gaming, right? It was not allowed in those. And there were, thoughts around self-regulation, which I think the Honorable Minister, Mr. Vaishnav, has said that it did not work. So again, in this particular case, the government is now very clear on where it stands. And in my personal opinion, I believe that there is no going back on this, right? Specifically. So, and I think we have heard from most of the players who have complied with the law, and not many are wanting to challenge this. Now, the opportunity part here, right? The fact of the matter is that a lot of these real money gaming companies, they're all actually profitable. They have significant cash sitting. Now, if you look at some of the diversification strategies that they have actually looked at, right? If you look at Dream 11, they are actually having 3 other companies which are into ancillary businesses as far as sports is considered. And there is gamification there. So I believe there is going to be a doubling down of the capital and talent on those aspects. In companies which were looking at entering into the real money gaming and with various opportunities, I think they will seriously look at non-real money gaming now and creating large IPs based out of India. So I think a lot of talent which is sitting with these companies, and that is high quality technology talent, will move towards overall gaming, will move towards solving problems around consumption and monetization as far as casual gaming is considered. So I definitely believe this is a huge opportunity. As Ramki sir correctly said, it may not appear so in the short term because the dust will settle, people will recalibrate, they will think through which areas they would want to go, and once the dust settles, maybe over the next 6 to 8 months or so, we will definitely see innovations coming out as far as the gaming industry is considered. Because the reality is, whether you look at gaming on a core basis, whether you look at sports and gamification of that, which is what fantasy was, or whether you even look at education and gamification of the same. Gamification is something which is very important. I don't know if you've read it. There was a quote somewhere, Duolingo. Duolingo is a language learning platform. It's actually a gaming platform. The gamification of language makes people go from one to another. So gamification as a concept is something that works very well across industries. And I believe those resources which are now freed up will be utilized to solve other problems which are not related to real money gaming.
Yeah, I think that's again, I totally agree, both of you, that gamification of skilling, education, also introducing new ways of implementation of the technology is very low-hanging fruit. And for that, I mean, of course, I will be definitely asking for the opportunity of the Austin companies. And in your point of view, maybe before you first, what is the opportunity Austin companies can expect from India? India being the software giant, India being the gaming nation in the recent year, as you agreed, and also looking at the development of from gaming to apps, the capability and the recent introduction of GCC policies across. What do you think would be the opportunity for the Austin companies in India? Over to you, Vivek.
Yeah, specifically, if I look at the opportunities are immense. I think the important point, and this was a point that was there in the deck also, we have a young population, highly educated population. We have a population which picks up technology very well. I mean, the size of our IT industry, although not specifically related to development, is about $270 billion. And actually, the fastest emerging segment in that is actually software development. Obviously, AI is going to come in and disrupt it, but I definitely believe that human intervention is very, very important, even with AI. So right now, what we are likely to see is the fact that a lot of companies will look at original development and creation of original IPs in India. And those original IPs could scale over a period of time significantly. So I think companies could come to India and look at the talent here, whether it is strategic investments or whether it is actually tapping the base of the large Indian market. Because right now, with this bill having been passed, the what do I say, inflection point on where we start seeing monetization is likely to come in the next 1.5 years, wherein people will find that there are IPs which are relevant to them. And I think if companies can come in either through strategic or through partnerships or whichever way they feel is fit, they stand to gain from that inflection point and that growth. So yes, definitely exciting times for the overall gaming industry. And you may be surprised I'm saying it's exciting times because of this law that has been passed. But then gaming is something that I would like to now call it, right, as the entire non-real money gaming industry, and definitely it is exciting time for that. And the government, as I said, is very clear on a position, and I don't see them going back at all.
I think it's, I mean, of course, we are all looking for opportunities and there are challenges.
What
and
I
remember,
Ajay,
yeah, sure,
Ajay,
please, Samke.
Yeah, we have a biggest 5G network in the globe. Okay. And our rural segment is pretty much having access to one of the cheapest data plans. across the globe. With such kind of numbers, any content which is there and which could be vernacularly developed to the local, somewhat customized for the local requirement within the boundaries of the government regulations, I'm pretty sure there is a huge market out there.
Further to what Ramki sir has said, and he knows this better than me. Today, we know what the country's ARPU is, right? As far as telecom is considered, and all three CEOs are saying that we need it increased by 50% to be sustainable to make the payments that are actually due. Now, the fact of the matter is there is a price elasticity that is there in telecom. So I think even telecom companies realize that content is the next lever for them as far as increasing their ARPU is considered. And content, it's not because I am paying for content. The fact, and when I say content, it is video, it is maybe text, music, it is audio, it could be gaming. The idea is the fact that content consumption leads to data usage, which would eventually lead to upgradation as far as the ARPU is considered. So even for the telecom industry, a vibrant gaming ecosystem is very, very important. And everybody is looking to unlock new ways and means to increase consumption as far as the overall industry is considered.
Perfect. I think if I remember in my childhood, we had a lot of inclination toward gaming, Super Mario to Contra, Nintendo. I think it's a well-known name in the gaming industry in India. And with that, I would like to thank you, our speakers, for sharing the thought and also putting some light on the hot topic here, gaming in India, and the future and the challenges and opportunity associated with it. I would like to thank you again, and we'll move to also to remind you, the audience, that as shared before, we have another next webinar coming on the 8th September, the future of green tech, a trade mission to green tech on 14th of October, and Sukhum Saide, or the future journey to India, on 17th of November. With that opportunities, we are looking forward to bringing you lots of trends and innovation in the upcoming series, Future of Technology in India. With that, I would like to thank you all, and we look forward to meeting you virtually or personally in India. Thank you very much.